Hi designers, welcome to class. So this is the third part of our video and also the last part. If you have watched part 1 and 2 and you are about to watch this part 3, then congratulations to you because you have actually learned a lot. So in this video, we are going to be learning how to transfer our pattern to fabric, how to add our sewing allowance, and most especially how to sew our dart. So if this is what you would like to learn, then you have to stick to the end of this video. So the first thing we need to do is to fold our fabric into two. At the second part of this video, I told you guys that we're going to be transferring this pattern on fold. So on fold means you have to fold your fabric into two so that when you open it up, it's going to be two instead of one. So this is what I'm doing in this video. I'm trying to fold my fabric into two. So when we are done folding our fabric, the next thing we need to do is to place our front pattern on that particular place. That is the right place to put it when you don't want your front to have opening, or whereby you don't want to put zip on your front. You just put it there because when you open up the clothes, it's going to be closed. It's not going to have opening. But for the back, you can as well go ahead and place it anywhere that you want. But for the front, you can just put it on that particular point that you folded, just like you can see me doing in this video. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and use my pin to pin it down so that it will not be moving when I'm trying to add my sewing allowance. So that is what I'm doing here in this video right now. Just pay attention, you understand what I'm doing more. So once I'm done pinning down our pattern, the next thing we need to do is to add our sewing allowance around our fabric. So the first place I'm going to start with is my neck. And as you can see, our neck is curved kind of. So we are going to be taking our time to add our half-inch allowance around our neckline. So that is what I'm doing in this video right now. I'm just doing this for beginners that don't know how to add their sewing allowance on their pattern. So if you're a beginner, you have to pay attention to this particular point. So once I'm done adding my sewing allowance at my neck, I'm going to be using my hand to kind of connect both lines that I've already marked down. I'm just going to go ahead now and do that and show you guys how it looks like. So once we are done connecting our neck with our hands, the next thing we need to do is to go to our shoulder. I'm going to use my ruler to kind of go straight and mark it just like you can see me doing in that video. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because it is a straight line. As you can see, when I was doing that neckline, I did not use ruler because it's kind of curved. But any part in this pattern that we see that is straight, we are going to be making use of our ruler. So if you are doing your own pattern transfer and you notice that the part you are doing is kind of straight, you can as well use the ruler to do your. So I have gone ahead to add my half-inch sewing allowance at my shoulder. Now it is time to go to an armhole, and I'm still going to do the same thing here by using my ruler to straighten that part up. So this is basically what we are going to be doing here. Any part that is straight, we are going to be making use of our ruler to make it more easier for us. And any part that is kind of curved, just like my neckline and my armhole, we are going to be making use of our hands. So I will just go ahead now and add my allowance on all parts of my pattern. Then I will show you guys how it looks like. I would have loved to leave it, but it's going to be kind of long. So I will go ahead now and fast forward it. So once we are done adding sewing allowance on our armhole, we are moving to our side front. So this point is very important. This is the part where you decide how many sewing allowance you want. You can as well make use of 2 inches or 1 inch. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be making use of 1 inch. So this point is very important because when your clothes do not fit your client, this is the point where you either come out so that it will enter your client, or you go in more. So it depends on you to decide how many inches that you want as your sewing allowance. So I'm going to be making use of 1 inch because of this video. And before I go ahead and do that, as you can see, I make use of my ruler to straighten that part up so that we know where we're going to be taking our measurement from. So I'm adding my 1 inch allowance now. So once I'm done adding my 1 inch, I will go ahead and use my ruler to connect it. So just watch carefully so that you understand what I'm doing more. So once I'm done connecting this side, we are going to go ahead now and complete our armhole. Remember, we are making use of 1/2 inch. So I will go ahead now and mark my 1/2 inch there and use my hand to connect the both line together, just like you can see me doing here. So once we are done, we are moving to the down part of this pattern. And just like I said, you can make use of your ruler on the part that you feel like is straight. So basically now we are going to be adding our sewing allowance on this part that is kind of curved, like our dart part. So if you look closely at that dart part, you will notice that it is not straight at all. So what I normally do is to use my ruler to straighten that part that is straight, so that we have a definition on how we are going to add our sewing allowance. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm using my ruler to straighten that part up, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to be adding my 1/2 inch round that part. That part that is curving, I'm going to be using 1/2 inch for it. Then when I'm done, I'll use my hand and connect the lines, just like you can see me doing here. Then I will move to the right part and do the same thing as well. I'm adding my 1/2 inch here. So I will go ahead and use my hand to connect it as well and show you guys how it looks like. So once we are done adding our 1/2 inch, we are still going to go ahead and use the 1/2 inch on other part of the down, just like you can see me doing here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 1/2 inch around the down part of this pattern. So once I'm done marking this part, I'm going to go ahead now and use my hand to mark it straight, just like you can see me doing in this video. Just like I told you guys, any part that is straight, you can make use of your ruler for it, and any part that is curved, make use of your hands. So once I'm done, I'll just go ahead now and cut all this part that I have marked. I want to tell you guys something. When you are cutting your pattern, you have to be very, very careful, especially the parts that is kind of curvy, so that you don't make mistakes and go and cut it straight, because the way you cut your pattern, that is how you are going to sew it. So if you make mistake, it's definitely going to show on the outcome of the fabric. So I'll go ahead now and cut this pattern and show you guys how it looks like. So this is how our fabric supposed to look like when we are done cutting, and this is how your own supposed to look like if you have done every single thing you need to do. So the next thing we need to do now is to transfer these darts to our fabric. The truth is that when you remove this pattern from this fabric, you are not going to see this dart that is here. So this is the part where we have to transfer this dart to our fabric. So the first thing we need to do is to go ahead with our AWL, and this is what I'm holding in my hand right now. So if you don't have this, I will still show you another method you can use in transferring your data. So this hour, we are just going to go ahead now and point it at this part that is very, very sharp. So just watch carefully to see what I'm doing in this video so that you'll be able to understand better. So this hour is very, very sharp. Just like you can see, when I pointed it from the other side, it came out from this part. So if you have done everything you need to do, this is how your own supposed to look like. So when you point it this way, it will make it easier for us to see from the other side. I don't know whether you're able to see it, but if you are there with me, you will see this point that I didn't make at that part. But if you don't have this out, you can make use of pin, just like you can see me here. And because of the fact that a lot of you might not have this out, we're going to be making use of pin in this video so that you'll be able to understand. So I've gone ahead now to put my pin there. So once I put my pin there, I'm going to leave it there entirely. I'm not going to remove it again. So now we are going to move to the dart leg. I'll use my chalk and extend my dart leg. The reason why we are doing that is because I want us to notch the fashion fabric itself. So the reason why we are notching the fashion fabric is that it's going to be more easier for us when we remove the pattern. We are going to see where our dart leg is. You guys might not really understand that till you remove the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead now and notch the three parts of my dart leg, just like you can see me doing in this video. So once I'm done, I will now go ahead and remove my pattern itself. So once we are done removing the pin, we are going to go ahead now and remove our pattern. But if you look closely at what I'm doing, the pin that I put on my dart, I did not remove it. Rather, I was holding it from the other side so that it will not go out. So after that, I gently remove the pattern itself. So if you look at the fabric, you will see that there is a pin there. The reason why I left that pin is because it's going to be a guide for us whenever we are trying to mark out our dart leg. So if you are making use of owl, you can decide to remove it because owl will kind of create a big hole there that will be visible for you. But if you're using pin, try as much as possible to leave it till you're able to achieve your dart leg. So the next thing we need to do is to mark out our dart leg. So you guys need to watch carefully to see what I'm doing here. You are going to understand more the reason why I left the pin. So I'm going to use my ruler now and mark my dart, just like you can see me doing in the video. Just watch carefully so that you understand. So when you are marking out your dart, you have to be very careful because all the dart is supposed to stop at this place that we put the pin. So this is the reason why we left the pin, so that it will be a guide for us. So if you look closely at what I'm doing in the video, all my dart leg is touching the pin. Is touching the pin. None of them is extending more than the pin. So this is what you're going to do on your own as well. So once you are done with marking out your dart, this is how it's supposed to look like. If yours is not looking like this, just know that you're making a mistake. You might be wondering why it's taking so much time. The truth is that if you're no longer a beginner, you don't need all these rules, all this procedure. You just go ahead and mark your dart, you notch it and sew it down. But as a beginner, I'm just taking my time so that I will teach you so that you understand. So once you are done with the other side, we are still going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to do that one and show you how it looks like. So once I'm done marking out my darts, I've gone ahead to remove the pin. Now I'm trying to open up the fabric. Do you guys see how this fabric looks like? So do you see the reason why I say that whenever you're cutting your front, you have to make sure that it's unfold? Imagine whereby it's not unfold, that means the middle part will be open and we have to use zipper in order to close it. So any single rules, any single principle that I'm telling you guys in this video, there is a reason behind it. So the next thing we need to do now is to come down by 1 inch, just like you can see me doing in the video. I'm going to go ahead and do it on the both side of our dart. So just do your own as well. Once I'm done with that, I will use my ruler and extend it to our dart leg. So just watch the video, you understand. The reason why I did not do it earlier is because I don't want to confuse you guys. You can as well just do this directly without doing the very first one. Anyone that is more easier for you, just go for it. So this one that we are drawing out now, this is the main dart that we are going to sew down. Then the very first one, we are not going to sew it. So maybe when I'm sewing, you guys will be able to understand better. But just go ahead and do it at the both side of the dart. So now that I'm done marking out our darts, let's go to the sewing machine so that I'll show you guys how to sew this dart perfectly. So there is two rules in order to achieve a perfect dart. The first one is that when you are sewing it, you just have to turn your darts down, just like you can see me doing here. If you look closely at what I did, I just turn it upside down. So this is the down part of this our dart, and that is where we are going to be sewing from. We don't sew from up, no, we sew from down. So once I have turned it down, the next thing I need to do is to fold it. Remember that notch that we did? This is where it comes in. So that notch that we did, we are going to make sure that the notch is matching each other. But first of all, that middle part, we are going to fold it and make sure that it is in that part, like the folding is in that part. So do you see the way I'm taking my time to make sure that everything is okay before I will start sewing? That is how you're going to do yours as well. So once I fold it this way, I'm going to make sure that this notch that I did both at the front and the back is aligning at each other, like both of them is kissing each other. So once I make sure that both of them is okay, I will now go ahead now and start sewing. You also need to remember that we are sewing the inside one, not that first one. You are sewing the inside one. So just look closely at what I'm doing at this video so that you'll be able to understand. Another route to a perfect dart is how you end it. So if you look closely at what I'm doing at this video, you will notice that I did not double stitch the tip. Instead of double stitching, I kind of remove and make sure that I have excess thread at the mouth. Then just look closely at what I'm doing here. I'm trying to use my hand to open the stitch up. Then once I'm done with that, I will now use my hand and tie it. So the best way to end your dart is to tie it. Do not double stitch. This way it will give you a smoother dart than the one that you double stitch. So once I'm done tying it, I'll just go ahead and repeat the same thing that we did here to the other side of the dart. Then I will now show you guys how it look like at the end of the day. So just like I said, there is two routes to a perfect dart. The first one is to make sure that you are sewing from down, and the second one is do not double stitch, tie it instead. So once you do this, you get a perfect dart. Another thing we need to note is how to iron our dart. So when you're ironing your dart, do not iron your dart this way. Rather, make sure that it is this way. Make sure it's facing like this. Just look at the video now. Just make sure it's facing like this when you're ironing. So another thing is the tip of the dart. Make sure that that place that you knotted, the place that you tied, make sure that you iron it very, very well so that it will be flat. You have not even ironed this dart and it's looking this neat. So if you do your own rightly, this is how your own supposed to look like as well. So remember that the one that we are sewing this dart on is our front. So you can go ahead now and sew your back dart, and once you are done, join your fabric together and voila, your basic bodice is all done. So this is the end of this video. Thank you for the likes, for subscribing, and for commenting. If you have not yet subscribed, do wait to subscribe so that anytime I post my video, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.